I'm with Stuart Okin. He's the MD of Comsec Consulting, and he's here today to talk about how we can reduce the risk of employing someone who maybe we'll have to ask to leave at a later stage, or they may even leave on their own accord, but walk off with valuable data or damage some aspect of the company system. Stuart.
So the question that I know that's on top of the mind is, how do you reduce the impact of employing the wrong people at the get-go? I mean, that's the key. And to me, there are four basic steps that you need to follow. The first one is around vetting. So I always think of the acronym VITB, by the way, which we'll come back to. So vetting. The vetting process it really starts on the CV. Now, most people, they tend to look at the CV in terms of, are they suitable to hire in the company? But this is taking a slightly different slant, is looking at the CV to see if there's any type of falsehood inside the CV or resume, to look for any gaps there that might be indicating that the person might be, let's say, untruthful or expanding on their real capability. And that shows a kind of ethical or moral issue potentially that could brew up later on. So the vetting process of the CV is absolutely clear as the very, very first step. So don't just look at it in terms of suitability for the role, but also look at it in terms of their background and the way that they might be thinking about application for a role. That's V.
Can I just ask one question on that
Sure.
vetting process of the CV? Many people do actually perhaps over-exaggerate on their CVs, if only because they're trying to give themselves some kind of edge, or they're thinking, just let me get in front of the interview panel. So they're actually not thinking anything particularly malicious here. They just feel that they'll be so good at this position, and they just need to get in front of an interview panel to convince them, and that's why they're doing this.
And of course, you've got to be pragmatic about this. So in certain cultures, that's done more than, say, other cultures. But it's a question of how much it's done, how much of this is exaggerated. So I think no one would, for example, condone lying about your qualifications. If you see anything like that, that would indicate that there's a problem. Whereas if someone might be saying that they've had certain experience in, say, management, where they managed only maybe one person rather than managing a team, you might be saying, okay, well, we'll let that one go a little bit. But it's important to actually look for that validation, that vetting, because people can take it to that extreme where they are blatantly lying, and in which case you need to pick that up, because that could give you an indication of potential future problems. So the vetting process is clearly the first place you're going to be doing this, and you can do a lot of it up front when you first see the CV, but then as you move into the I part, the interview stage, clearly you're looking for the validation during the interview stage. And actually in the interview stage, this is where I've seen quite a few mistakes being made. Quite often people don't prepare for their interviews. They either just bring someone in and try and make up their mind within the first 5 or 10 seconds whether that's the right person they want to employ, and then are trying to validate that in their own mind during the interview process. Or they don't prepare, they don't look through the CV, they don't look for any potential issues that they want to pick up with. They don't sit down with their peer group and compare which disciplines they're going to be interviewing. So within Comsec, for example, all of our interviews are conducted. We have 3 interviews that are conducted, and we look for different areas in those 3 interviews, and we compare notes between each of the interviews. So one might be looking for the softer skills, where someone else is looking for the technical areas, and someone else is looking for the organisation agility, and you're looking at certain areas. The other thing that we also see in interviews is quite often people will move into the area of what if? What if this happened? And that's always a big mistake, because what if means that anyone can answer anything. What you want to do is look at people's experience. So what you're doing is saying, let me pose a situation. What did you do in that situation? So preparing for the interviews, making sure that you're doing 3 interviews, that the 3 different people know what they're going to be testing for in the interviews, that they've prepared the CV up front, they've prepared the questions up front, and they don't look at sort of future scenarios, but looking at the experience, can really bring out whether the candidate is the right candidate from a security perspective, not only just from a role perspective. So that's the I part. So vetting the CV, interviewing is the second category. And then of course we move on to testing. Now testing, there's a vast array of testings out there from handwriting to polygraphs. And online technical testing, there's a wide range in there. We think it's very useful to include testing inside our disciplines, but again, you've got to decide which areas you're going to test in, because they all have their strengths and their weaknesses. Now, and also they have legal considerations. So in Israel, for example, many of our guys will go through polygraph tests, and that's a requirement by our clients out there, saying, you know, the individuals will go through polygraph tests every year. Sorry.
Let me just understand this. The polygraph test is essentially a lie detector test.
Indeed.
Hello everyone, my name is Ben Chai. I'm the editor for SecurityVibesUK. If you've enjoyed this video or have any other comments to make, please do fill in the comment boxes and let us know what you think. Thank you.